Here to my left is a serpent head, a plumed serpent head from the site of Chichen Itza in the Yucatan Peninsula. Although we're looking at his face, his body is carved with long plumes so that we know he's a feathered serpent. Well, the plumed serpent is known as the god Quetzalcoatl, and the plumed serpent is his animal avatar. He becomes one of the key figures in the period that we look at during the exhibition called the post-classic period. He's the deity associated with the higher arts, with erudition, with merchants and trade. So you see how all of these different communities gravitate towards him, in part because of the fluorescence of trade. Well, Quetzalcoatl, that's the human version of the plumed serpent, is depicted several times throughout the show as his sort of human self, as a man god, if you will. But he's also depicted, as you can see, zoomorphically, as an animal. But we also show him in a number of different objects throughout the show as his emblem. The cut shell becomes very closely associated with the deity himself. And in fact, that's one of the key things about the show, is that we look at the development of an entirely pictorial system of communication that transcended all these language barriers of different communities. We have three very special objects here in the exhibition, three painted manuscripts. One of them is pre-Columbian. It's called the Codex Nuttall, and it tells the story of one of the heroes of the Mixtec people, Lord Eight Deer. It tells of his travels throughout the region, how he ascends to the throne and fights for it, and his journeys to consolidate his power in the area. So the Codex Selden tells the story of Lady Six Monkey. She was a female rival and contemporary of Lord Eight Deer, but this codex was painted later, and it's remembering her role for her community of Jaltepec. The two pages that we're showing tell of her marriage, and they show the celebration, but also, importantly, the dowry that was paid during this transaction. So we've placed the codex in front of a case of jewelry, where you can see a lot of the objects that are depicted in the codex are in the case as well. The gold necklaces, the gold pectorals, the earrings. The Mixtec people, the people that lived in Oaxaca area, central Oaxaca, they were organized into a loose confederacy of royal families. So they were like independent city-states, and each community had its own royal court. These codices would have been read in the royal court and tell the history of a particular community. And they would have been read aloud during celebrations. There's a handful left. The fact that we have three is quite extraordinary.